everybody, and welcome to another episode of Countries of ASEAN. Today we're going to be talking about Singapore. Okay, Singapore is a fairly new country compared to other countries in the world. It has a population of 5.8 million people. Okay, so let's get right into it and let's have a look at the Singaporean flag. So over here you can see the flag of Singapore. It is red, white, it has 5 stars and a moon. But like most countries, Singapore also had a change of flags over the years. So let's get started with this flag. This flag is from 1874, when the British took over Singapore together with Malacca and Penang, and they joined them together and made this flag. Then it stayed this flag for quite a long time until Japan took over in World War II, and for a few years they had this Japanese flag. Then in 1946 the British took it back again and they made it separate from Malacca and Penang and just had this flag. Then in 1952 they made a small change to the flag. They almost look the same, it's just the crown that is changed a little bit. Then in 1963 Singapore joined together with Malaysia, so they had the Malaysian flag, until they finally separated and became their own country and had the flag of Singapore. Okay, so what is the meaning of the colors and the shapes in the flag of Singapore? So let's start with the red. Red stands for brotherhood, and white stands for virtue. The moon stands for the fact that they are a young nation. And then each of the 5 stars has their own meaning. So we have democracy, peace, progress, justice, and equality. Singapore is also a very diverse country. People from all over Asia have moved to Singapore, which means Singapore has a very rich and diverse cultural background, with all sorts of different traditions, depending on where the people come from. So let's get started with Singaporean food. So as you can guess, because there are so many different backgrounds in Singapore, mainly India, Indonesia, China, they have a lot of different foods coming in from all these different countries. Singapore is also known for having high quality street food. Just a few years ago, a man named Chan Hong Meng, I hope I pronounced that correctly, was the first street food vendor to get a Michelin star. Now that is quite an accomplishment. He also holds the record for the cheapest Michelin star quality meal, which is only $1.42. So yeah, try to beat that, Gordon Ramsay. Okay, now let's have a look at the Singaporean national food, Hainanese chicken rice, which is a poached chicken with seasoned rice and chili sauce. That sounds pretty good.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, next is an interesting one. We're going to have a look at the national animal of Singapore, which weirdly enough is a lion. Now, outside of the zoos, there are no lions in Singapore. So how come the national animal of Singapore is a lion? So how exactly did the lion become the national animal of Singapore? Well, to find that out, we're going to have to go back in time more than 700 years, when Singapore was first discovered by a man called Sang Nila Utama. So according to the story, when Sang Nila Utama landed on the beach of what we now know as Singapore, he thought he saw a lion, which is very unlikely because there are no and have never ever been any lions on what we now know as Singapore. So he most likely has seen a tiger. But anyway, that's not part of the story. He thought he saw a lion, and lion in his language was Singa, and city was Pura. So he named it Singapura, which means Lion City or City of Lions. Now, most countries that have a national animal use that same national animal as a mascot for their country, Not always, but usually. Not in the case of Singapore, though. Although they came kind of close, I suppose, being their national animal is a lion, but their mascot is a mare lion, which means sea lion. No, not sea lion, but sea lion, like this famous statue over here. So it's half lion, half fish. Okay, next, let's have a look at the traditional dress of Singapore. Now, because Singapore is such a diverse country, depending on what your background is, you might consider a different kind of dress for the traditional dress of Singapore. So I'm going to show you a few different ones that I could find. So these are quite difficult words. I will probably mispronounce a few of them, but I'm going to try my best. So let's have a look at the first one I could find, which is the Nyonya Kabaya over here, which is a shirt with a long dress. And it has a background from Chinese people who moved to Penang, who then moved to Singapore. The next one is a Chinese dress called the Cheongshan, which is a long dress like this one over here. Then for the next national dress, we're going to have a look at the Baju Kurung, which is a Malaysian style dress, which is a dress and a sarong like this one over here. And the last one I could find was the sari, which we all know has their background in India. Okay, that was it for the national costume of Singapore. Now for the next part, we're going to talk about the holidays in Singapore. And again, because the rich diversity in Singapore, there are many different holidays depending on your background. The holiday I'm going to talk about today is called Hari Raya Puasa. Hari Raya means celebration day, and it is celebrated by Muslims all around the globe to mark the end of Ramadan. During the mornings and evenings of Hari Raya, people go to the mosques to pray. But during the daytime, the families come together and have a big feast like this, for example. Now that looks pretty good. Families also tend up to dress in the same color to symbolize unity. They also give out green envelopes with money, mostly to the children. Okay, well, this was it for today. I hope you learned something about Singapore and you know what to do next. You download the worksheet, you download the PowerPoint, and we will see each other again next time. Bye bye!